hooking like say an 8-foot stick and you're hooking the sardine.
Okay.
Am I killing the bait when it hits the water? Going like.
Sure. Great question. I don't overhand cast almost ever. I do underhand lobs, little underhand wafts. The reason being, I have two analogies. Here's my other one. Here's the other one. Let's just get the other one out of the way. Okay? Sardine on hook. You're Sano. You know how to pick a bait. Your gear is good. You're ready, right? Awesome sardine. The greenest one, perfect racehorse. It took you 3 times to try and get it, right? Then you come up to the rail, and you're going to just uncork a nice little cast, or a big heave, a long cast, as long as you can get it, like it's a plastic or something, because a long cast gets bit if you can get away from the boat. But what that's like is doing a belly flop for the sardine. And if it's weak bait, it hits the water, and it just, I call it disco balls. Just sardine scales everywhere, and it's stunned, right? And it takes, it's messed up. Because it's coming, ooh, boom, right? But what I do is, I just do little underhand casts. So here's I'm on the Voyager. You know, the little Voyager, not Pacific Voyager, small little stern. This is the stern of the Voyager. And the boat is drifting like this, we'll say we're fishing bluefin offshore. I just walk to the downwind corner. No one's ever going to be here, or they're here only for a second because they cast out and then they do the slide and the shuffle, right? I just come right here and I let some line out and I do a pendulum style cast, and what that does is the bait is real low to the water, and then you just flip it out and it keeps it like this, and then it lands fairly gently. So that's kind of something to think about. Of course, when it's just big, huge mackerel baits, or you're like flipping stuff into boiler rocks, it doesn't really have to swim. It doesn't really matter. But I think that makes a big difference. And for a long time, I was all about the distance, you know? And there are times where if you can just cast at the curtain, the bait hits the water, it swims 3 feet or a bit. Like, that's half the battle. So there's times where the big, huge cast is going to help you. Or for those bluefin type situations where it's like long soak fishing and you really want to have a great bait, I'd rather negate casting distance and do the underhand flip and get it 3/4 of the way as an overhand, and then have a great bait that's going to swim out. So hopefully that kind of.
Explains why my jacket is really right out.
Okay. I think there's a time for like, especially with big gear and stuff like that, guys are trying to cast it and it's just like 50. It's hard to cast overhand, and the bait just boom, smashes water. You'd almost be better off to just drop it in the water and let it swim out on its own. And the boat's doing half the work for you if you're drift fishing. I mean, a big sport boat with some wind and a little bit of swell drifts fast. Think about how fast your skiff drifts when you're trying to fish little spots. You're like, oh God, we can't even drift this. You know, we've got an anchor on this. And now a sport boat, more area to push. So
that's my question about drifting. When, you know, most of the trips we go on are a day and a half to 2 in this group,
yep,
for the most part.
Yep.
Get into those bites, the clunkers, and you're drifting, and you're going pretty fast.
Yep.
I mean, you know, it's pretty hard for, you know, a butt hook sardine or a shoulder hook sardine or collar, you know, to go the other direction. You get into the water and you leave it there from it.
Right.
But unless you're keeping up with it,
yep,
you're dragging it backwards sometimes.
Yep.
And that's on occasions where I would use a nose hook sardine. I know it's not what you say, but in that occurrence, I'd use a nose hook and have him at least, if he's getting pulled along, he's getting pulled along in the right direction.
That's a good point, but you got to keep this in mind too. And I agree with you wholeheartedly when it comes to the collar hook, because now you're dragging your bait like a taco through the water. And the butt hook, because now you're dragging it backwards. But I have to disagree 100% with the shoulder hook. You know why? Because it's like this and you're still dragging it. And you know what? It's even better because it's like a little swimming plug or pollen type thing. Its head is down and like this.
Planes a little bit.
You get a lot of bites on the wind in with the shoulder hook. And this is, I forgot this part. It's kind of hard to splice it in. What I really like about shoulder hook fishing is you're doing your long soak for bluefin, right? We had this great bluefin fishing this summer where you actually had to fish. Like you had to try to get them a little bit a lot of times. You soak your bait way out there, and how many times have you wound in and you got your nose hook sardine and you picked up 4 lines on the way in? You, of course, followed your line. It couldn't be you, it's the other guy, right? But you picked up 3 other people on the way in because they weren't following their line, right? It's never, oh no, I got you, it's, oh, you got me, right? But what, in all seriousness, what I like about this shoulder hook is that long soak it. I think Guadalupe Island, because you're on the anchor, all the lines are going the same way, horrific tangles, horrific. But when you shoulder hook, and I do this all the time, if maybe some fish are blowing up close to the boat, and like my bait is just done, or I'm through with this cast, I don't care about trying to get a bite on the wind in, I just go like this, and set the hook, and the hook pops out, and the other guys, it was them, they weren't following no lines, right? You're not going to pick them up because now it's just hook coming through water. So it's kind of a cool little bonus to it.
Same thing, butt hook pops out too.
Butt hook pops right out too. Yep, yep. So it's another one of those kind of little things. But you know, fishing's all about confidence, and this is the way that I have confidence in fishing now. But I mean, it's not for everyone, and not everyone likes the Spectra, and I respect that. Like, I'm not trying to force feed the issue or anything. So I had a guy totally chastise me at the Del Mar Fred Hall show, just like, I will never put that in the water. I can't believe you're doing a seminar on this. I'm just like freaking out on me. It's like, all right, well, you can walk around and ask all the long range captains, and they're all going to say like, but it's tough fishing, that's how you get the bite, you know? But you can't change people's minds, and I just said, cool. No? What are you going to do?
How big was he?
Yeah, he's big and drunk, so. Double.
I agree with you.
You feel the same way